Good evening, carnivores and carnivore curious. My name is Cassandra, and this is my Apex Odyssey. In today's episode, I want to talk about muscle cramps. Have you ever had them? What did you do? How do you get rid of them? Did you have them worse, or did they get better when you went on the carnivore diet? That's a question that one of my viewers has asked, and I want to read some of this. Silith3077 asks me this. How are you feeling on carnivore? I lost a ridiculous amount of weight easily, but had to stop because the muscle cramping was getting insane and nothing I did seemed to fix it. I adjusted my water, increasing it or decreasing it when I drank, adding or decreasing electrolytes made no difference, and it made it worse sometimes, I think. I had to eat fruit to hold water on my body to stop the cramping, but it makes me tired and it's making me inflamed. I want to go back to carnivore, but I'm scared. I noticed that when I was carnivore, the weight loss stopped immediately when I started to eat butter to add fat when the meat was too lean. Okay, that's a lot going on. And I feel for this person so much. I can really relate to that. And I've said many times that I didn't get on the carnivore diet to do stuff that hurts. And if, when it feels like what you're doing that's supposed to have such great results is actually making things worse, I can imagine it really makes you pause and try to reconsider what you're doing. But I did tell this person that, things that I've done in the past, but I also mentioned that we could talk about it in a video to sort of brainstorm solutions. And of course, the regular disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, not a medical professional, not a health coach or a life coach. And I can only share my experience. That's all. In case something that you hadn't thought of, it triggers an idea of something that you can try. I think it was in a lot of pain. If I was in a lot of pain personally, I would go to the doctor because I'm not into that, not into suffering needlessly. And I know that we as carnivores are just had it up to here with doctors sometimes. If they bother giving us a solution for anything at all, a lot of times it's stuff we don't want. Like, I've been offered steroids all the time, and I'm just not taking those anymore unless it's life-threatening, like immediately life-threatening, because those, I think they've been very deleterious to my health. And, that's something that you all have to decide for yourselves. But after having said that, first of all, I'd like to ask you, if you're watching, to hit the like button to help get this message out there, because that's what we're here for, isn't it? To share knowledge with people who are looking for it. And this person was really looking for it. Just some information. So let's get it out there. I'm sure other people have this question. They must have the same problem. So for muscle cramps, my main experience with muscle cramps has been in my calves, like having a Charlie horse when I was asleep. And it's always when I'm asleep. I never had Charlie horses when I was up and awake and doing stuff, and I'm not sure why that is, but they always come on when I was asleep. And more recently, I have the back spasms. It's still not 100% better, but whenever I first started carnivore, it was really bad. Like almost every night, I would have to get up after being in bed for 3 or 4 hours. I just couldn't stand it anymore. I'd have to get up and go sleep in a recliner with a heating pad on just to get some relief. So I guess that's one thing that I can say has worked for me, is applying heat. Now, the person doesn't say where the muscle cramps are, I don't think. But, I guess you can have a cramp in any muscle. But the other one that I had recently, which I kind of did to myself since going on carnivore, I haven't not had many conditions get worse while I was on carnivore, but I did injure myself, I think, from walking outside on the concrete on the sidewalk barefoot, trying the grounding thing, and I hurt my feet pretty bad from doing that, and was having foot cramps for a long time. So what I did for those, I actually ended up doing some physical therapy, which helped. And since I have not stopped, I've stopped doing that. I don't walk outside barefoot anymore. I've been putting my sneakers on, even though I don't want to. What I did, something that helped whenever they were really bad, was hot foot soaks in Epsom salt, which is magnesium. I don't know if the magnesium had anything to do with it, but a good soak in Epsom salt is soothing. It cures a multitude of ills. So I did that, and it did help my feet. So that's another thing that might be possible. And just through, for the last, probably for most of my adult life, I've had, every once in a while, would have leg cramps, and seemed like they would come on and would last for a few days, and then they would go away. But whenever it was nothing serious, not like a major issue like that, even drinking pickle juice before I went to bed seemed to help. And that's got to be sodium, right? I mean, there's not much else in pickle juice. Maybe a tiny, tiny bit of potassium from the vinegar, but it can't be much. So that's got to be a sodium issue. So that is an electrolyte problem. Once probably over the last 15 years, whenever I started having symptoms that led up to eventually being diagnosed as rheumatoid arthritis, I would wake up in the night with pain. My muscles would cramp and stuff so bad, I would wake up yelling with the pain. It hurt so bad. I mean, it would just wake me up and be excruciating. And there was nothing that I did for that pain seemed to help. And I tried different things. I tried the pickle juice, but this was a major issue. This was not, you need more salt. Excuse my voice. I just came in from outside and it's cold out there. So my sinuses are draining. But anyway, those did not get better until I went to see the rheumatologist and got on this medication for rheumatoid arthritis. And it takes about 6 months for that medicine to start kicking in, but once it did, I stopped waking up in the night with those real bad pains. So that's one reason I suggest going to the doctor. It might be something that needs to be looked at, and there's no point in continuing to suffer from it. But another thing that I wanted to mention was when I was pregnant, I had real bad Charlie horses, muscle cramps in the nighttime, and started researching it, and somehow I found that when you're pregnant, it can be a calcium issue, which is another electrolyte issue, but it's a different electrolyte. And I started taking these things called Calcets. I called, whenever you're pregnant, you're careful about what kind of medicine you take. So I actually called the nurse, and I'm like, I'm having leg cramps real bad. I want to start taking this Calcet. And she's like, I don't know. You probably shouldn't do that. But I did anyway, because I was in a lot of pain. And I took that, and it helped them immediately. So that's a different kind of electrolyte issue. Which brings me to another thought, of what might be causing it. and which is oxalate dumping. So the reason that I think of oxalate dumping is because it gets better when they start eating fruit. And what did they add? Okay, so fruit has oxalates. So if, and whenever you're having a bad spell of oxalate dumping, the doctors say, or whoever it is, Sally Fallon, is that her? I was actually watching a video about this recently. If you have some more oxalate, it causes the dumping to slow down so that it's more manageable. So what they advise people to do is to add, if you're having oxalate dumping or you think you are, add a little bit of oxalates to your diet, which can be found in most fruits and vegetables as far as I'm aware. And that'll slow it down. So it's possible that by eating those fruits that you're adding oxalates back into your diet, and it's, making you feel better, but, then you're having all the symptoms of eating fruit, which doesn't sound like it's going too well. If it causes you to feel tired and inflamed. So maybe try some black tea. That's what Sally Fallon and other promoters of the oxalate dumping situation will suggest. Black tea with no, I wouldn't do sweeteners or cream because I don't use any of those, but I guess you could if that's part of your eating plan. I don't, certainly could add it to tea, but couldn't hurt to try it unless you're allergic to tea, obviously, to see if it reduces the symptoms, the cramps, without causing any of the side effects that you would normally get from consuming high carb fruits. So please, if you have any other ideas about what could be going on, please share them. If just what have you done? Have you ever had cramps, and what did you do about it? What worked? What didn't work? Let's try to, help our community and maybe help the person who asked, and it may, help a lot of other people. So I really appreciate you listening and appreciate any information that you want to share. And I hope you have a great evening and many more. And I will see you in the next one.